Chapter 7. More Museums and Galleries. The British Museum in Great Russell Street is the biggest museum in Britain and the oldest museum in the world. It opened in 1759. There are 94 galleries. It is a 4-kilometre walk through all these galleries, a reading room and bookshops. At the centre of the building is the beautiful Great Court. The Museum of London, at 150 London Wall, opened in 1976. There you can learn about London and its people from its earliest times. At the Natural History Museum in Cromwell Road, you can learn all about our world and the people and animals in it. You can see the dinosaur exhibition with moving dinosaurs and many more beautiful and interesting things. The Science Museum has more than 10,000 exhibits. Here you can learn about the science of the past and the science of today. It also has an IMAX cinema. A much smaller museum at 48 Doughty Street is the Dickens House Museum. The writer Charles Dickens lived in this house with his family for 3 years, from 1837 to 1839. He wrote 2 of his books here, Oliver Twist and Nicholas Nickleby. After Shakespeare, Dickens is England's next most famous writer. Another important British writer, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, wrote stories about Sherlock Holmes. The clever detective and his friend Dr. Watson are now famous all over the world. The Sherlock Holmes Museum is at 221B Baker Street. The house was built in 1815, and in the stories, Holmes lives at this address. Holmes did not really live in Baker Street, of course, but at the museum you can learn all about him. You can see Holmes's hat and Dr. Watson's bedroom, and many things from the stories. And you can sit in Holmes's chair for a photograph. The London Transport Museum is in Covent Garden and tells the story of London's buses and underground trains from the early 19th century. There are lots of interesting things here. You can see films, drive a London bus or underground train, and hear stories about buses in London during the Second World War. 4 million people visit the National Gallery in Trafalgar Square every year. There are more than 2,300 pictures here, the earliest from the 13th century. Next to the National Gallery is the National Portrait Gallery in St. Martin's Place. Here you can see pictures of famous people. There are faces from the past, pictures of kings and queens, and of William Shakespeare, and faces from today, from Prince William to David Beckham. Tate Britain is at Millbank, past Lambeth Bridge. It is the home of British art from the year 1500 to today. There are pictures by John Constable, J.M.W. Turner, and many other famous names in British art. Madame Tussauds in Marylebone Road is famous for its wax figures. You can see famous people from the past and famous people of today. Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, Beyoncé, and Brad Pitt. And in the Chamber of Horrors, you can see some very bad people. The London Dungeon in Tooley Street is a museum of horror. 500,000 people visit it every year, but some do not stay very long. Museums and art galleries can be very busy, but in the late afternoon it is often quieter. In many of the bigger museums and galleries, tickets are free.